experience is the experiment.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Today's guest moved from Montreal to Los Angeles to pursue his dream of becoming a songwriter and an artist. He has since found himself in rooms writing for some of today's biggest artists and now releasing his own music, including Cry Cry. Please welcome today's guest, Jakey.
Woo!
Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. First of all, thanks for having me.
First
And
podcast, you were
first
telling me.
podcast, I was telling him before that you actually popped my
You're
podcast cherry.
I'm a cherry popping podcaster.
Yeah.
I could come off really bad. Well, it is what it is.
Never listened to a podcast, never been on a podcast.
Well, there's a
So,
first for everything.
That is true.
So, from Montreal
hmm
to LA,
Yes.
when did you make the move?
Well, there are some steps in between,
Mhm.
which we'll get to, but I officially moved to LA January 2020. So
Not that long ago.
Not that long ago, 2 months before the pandemic, basically. I actually went back home in March of 2020. It was supposed to be my sister's bat mitzvah, which
Mhm.
never happened, obviously.
Yep.
And I got stuck there for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So I've officially been here since like September of 2020. So
That's
really
crazy.
fresh. I'm fresh meat, you know?
What a weird time to come here, too, because you came when LA was the least LA it's ever been.
I know. At the time I was living in the valley and
Mhm.
everything was just so grim and so weird.
Yeah.
And coming from a really small community where I was like the artist, you know? I was
Mhm.
like, I'm the singer. I have so much like hope for the future. And then I move here and everything was just like not what I expected, not only
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, but also LA and the industry. And there were so many things that I needed to learn
Mhm.
when I first got here. Which, yeah.
But you seem to have found a group of people that were probably the saving grace in getting to learn a lot of those things in an LA that wasn't regular LA.
100%. I'm super, super lucky that how everything worked out, you know? I was living in Toronto actually before I moved to LA. I was studying philosophy there at Ryerson.
Awesome.
So I was there for 2 years and I don't know, I was so unhappy there. Like everything just felt so gray and boring and just I felt useless for some reason. And I think it's just because I wasn't passionate about what I was
Yeah.
doing at the time. Looking back now, like I apply so much of the philosophy that I learned in school, but while I was learning it, I was just like, I'm just here
Yeah.
to pass time, just to do what
Figure out
everyone else
whatever's
does.
next.
Exactly. But it wasn't till I moved to Toronto that for the first time in my life, had like time to reflect on who I am as a human being,
Yeah.
what my goals are in life, and I I would sit down every single night and just like write literally 20 songs a day,
Crazy.
one after the other. I would write them in the shower. All my friends would be like going out to parties, to clubs, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I would go, and after 20 minutes, I'd be like, I don't really want to be here right now.
You'd rather be your music playing.
I'd rather be in the pitch black in my dorm room,
Yeah.
like writing on GarageBand, you know?
Was this back in like towards the 2016 time?
This was in like
Back when you did Bittersweet?
oh, how do you know that?
That
is so scary.
I do my research.
So yeah, I did Bittersweet, which was the first full song I had ever written. I was super inspired by one Shawn Mendes song called Aftertaste.
It was the only song that you posted on outside of the mashup with Bittersweet
Stop.
on your old Facebook.
Obviously, I did a mashup with my one song Bittersweet, and I assumed everyone would know that it was a mashup, but no one even knew that it was my song in there. Anyways,
That's awesome.
but yeah, that song came out in 2015, and I'm really proud of it because I think it's a bop, honestly.
It's a bop, and you did it before all of this.
Before everything, before I even knew what like the industry was or what music
Yeah.
even was, I was just doing it as a pure like passion project
Yeah.
because I love to make music, you know?
It's so sweet. That's
Um,
how I mean, that's like I feel like that's what people lose.
yeah,
That's what people forget is that feeling of doing it just because you fucking love it.
I know. And
Okay.
that's something that honestly, moving here, I lost for a bit.
Mhm.
And it's so easy to lose sight of like why you're actually here. But you have to just, like, wake up one day and be like, "Wait, I didn't move here to, like, fuck around. Like,
Yeah,
I moved here to accomplish goals so I could, like, go back home and be with my family and be with my younger siblings," you know?
absolutely.
Um, so
We got the 3:30 train.
the 3:30 train
The
honking
3:30
away.
train.
Um, but yeah, so while I was in Toronto for those 2 years, I was writing and writing and writing, and, at the time, I would go back literally every single weekend to Montreal because I hated being in Toronto,
Mm.
and,
Why'd you hate it?
like I said, like, I just wasn't passionate about what I was doing.
Yeah, so it was more why you were there versus where you were at.
Exactly. So I would go home every single weekend, I would take the train, like, it was like a 4.5-hour train, literally every
Crazy.
Friday to Monday, and I would sit in the pitch black in my basement at my home in Montreal, and I would just play and play and play, just make music,
Yeah,
and my parents would always come down, and they would be bawling at the edge of, like, the stairs listening to my songs,
it's so fun.
and I had always known that, like, I wanted to be a performer and, like, wanted to do music as a career, but
Yeah,
I didn't understand how, like, I wasn't the type to be posting covers and doing all that stuff, like, that to me just I wanted to sing my own songs, like, why would I
absolutely.
wanna sing
You
someone
wanted to be the
else's?
artist.
Exactly.
S
Um,
Is that back when you were into Hilary Duff?
you're insane, how do you know all of this? Hilary Duff is my one like, celebrity crush.
She was my
There's
first show ever, and she touched my hand 3 times.
Okay, yeah, she was my first show ever. I met her 4 times, actually. I went to the premiere of A Cinderella Story, the movie,
Yeah,
which is my favorite movie, and then I went to a few of her other concerts, and I met her backstage, and she actually remembered me of
that's
her.
crazy.
She's my queen.
Her show was my first one with my mom, and then my second show was Judas Priest. So
Ooh,
the exact opposite.
yeah.
He came out of, like, some skull on stage, and she
Okay.
was
That's
singing songs from
hilarious.
her Disney Channel show.
What, show did you go to? Was it Metamorphosis? Was it
Oh, I
which
couldn't
one?
tell you. I was a young kid.
It
It
was
was when
probably her first album.
she was still on, Lizzie McGuire.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was probably her first album, which
it
is
was
obviously the
old.
best one.
That's so crazy.
Um,
So she was one of the people that you were looking up to and that you were like, "I wanna do that."
yeah, there was really no one else that made me wanna be I I'll say, like, when I first envisioned myself, like, doing music, my goal was just, like, be famous, you know?
Mhm.
I just wanted to be famous and, like, have paparazzi pictures taken of me and stuff.
Yeah.
But as I've grown and I've kind of, like, found who I am as a person and as an artist, there is so much more beyond that interests me, and,
Mhm.
like, the bottom line of that is just people respecting me as a creative
Yeah.
and just understanding where I come from when I'm, like, writing my songs.
So, I haven't known you for that long, but I've known you long enough that I kinda got to see the switch.
Right.
So, you went from coming out to LA and figuring out LA
Mhm.
to now being a legitimate songwriter who goes to sessions multiple times a week and does the
Mhm.
grind. Tell me how that change happened.
Well, when I first moved here, like I said, I was really fortunate to have a really good crew of people around me.
Mhm,
Before I moved here, actually, I came here for a month and I was staying with my sister. And a bunch of these publishing groups and management companies were having me come out here for that month.
mhm.
And they were setting me up on all these sessions. And I made some really cool connections and really close friends. And after that month, I went back to Toronto and I was like, why the fuck am I here?
Yeah.
Like, I wanna be in LA. And it just so happened that at that time, Carly Hansen, who is now my BFF and
Shout out
obviously
Carly,
one of the best artists out there.
and just one of the best fucking people.
She really is.
She's
She
phenomenal.
is the best. Love you, Car.
We're getting her
Um,
on soon.
yes,
She'll be
she's
here
gotta be
soon.
on here. Um, but she was happened to be moving out of where she was living, and she was like, "Why don't you just come move here and live with me?"
How'd you originally meet her?
So I was working with these while I was in Toronto. I was working with these really cool producers who are from Quebec.
Mhm.
They're called House of Wolf. They're really, really cool guys. And they had done like the OG Carly stuff, like
Yeah.
Only One and like those songs. Um, and they were just hyping her up to me, and I was like, "Well, I obviously need to meet her." So they kind of connected us
Yeah.
and her production team, and we all just became a group of fun young creatives, you know?
So I met you through Carly,
Mhm.
who I met through the 19 Boys.
Exactly.
Shout out to 19 and You.
Love 19 and You. I actually live with Noah
Mhm.
now from 19 and You, which is so crazy.
He was on the first
Um,
he was I think he was one of the first episodes.
really?
Yeah.
Sick. They're
He's
all
one
the
of the
best.
greats. They're
Honestly,
all I mean, they're some of the best people I've got the pleasure of, like, becoming really, really close with.
yeah,
But, I mean, they're unreal. They're
they
killer. Go
really
listen to
are.
19 and You, people.
Yeah, shout out 19.
So were you writing with Carly?
At the beginning, no. I was just being set up on a bunch of different sessions and meeting with different publishers at the time, but
Mhm.
it was very premature. Like I had never really been in sessions with other people. I've never written with other people, let alone for other people.
Yeah.
But when I moved here, my initial goal was artist, artist, artist. Like I
Mhm.
just wanted to release my own singles and do my own thing. But I very quickly got thrown into the songwriting scene, and the people who I was working with at the time only saw me as a songwriter, um, which at the time I didn't understand why or what,
Totally.
and I didn't understand how to harness like my gift of songwriting.
Mhm.
Um, and so for those first few months living here, I was doing Zooms, I was doing sessions, like
Yeah, it was
writing.
mid-pandemic.
Yeah. But I still didn't understand like what it meant fully to songwrite for other
Yeah.
slash with other people because I'm just used to writing songs in the pitch black in my basement.
Mhm.
Um, and so I started doing that, and something happened after I'd moved out from where I was living, and I just had like a spring awakening. I like woke up one morning, I was like, I'm a star. Like, what am I doing here? Like, I didn't come here to just like obviously I love songwriting and
Mhm.
it's one of my like greatest pleasures in life is
Yeah.
writing and creating with other people. Which obviously, like I said, was something I had to learn how to do.
Yeah.
Um, but I didn't come here to do that, you know? If it just so happens that I'm good at it and that's what I'm like doing to get my foot in the door, then so be it.
Totally.
But that wasn't my main goal.
Yeah.
And I literally woke up one morning, I was like, I'm a rock star artist. Like, I'm gonna, and I literally switched up. Like, I changed my whole, it wasn't even an intentional change.
Mm.
It was just natural. Like, I think also pandemic allowed me to like reflect a lot on who I am, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody had a lot of time in their own heads,
for real.
which if you have the vices to get away from,
Hmm.
most people will take,
Yeah,
including myself.
for sure.
But we had none of that during the pandemic,
We
and
did not.
I think people got either a really good opportunity to see, hey, I'm not doing what I should be,
Hmm.
or I'm doing something that I shouldn't be, and I need to switch up.
Exactly. Exactly. And at the time, I was not working at all. Like, I had no job. Like, I was just going to sessions all the time.
Yeah.
And I just felt really low. Like, I was just like, there has to be more
Mhm.
that I could utilize in this huge Los Angeles, you know?
There's so much here.
There's so much to take advantage of, honestly. And it wasn't till I got a part-time job at Starbucks and I like moved out on my own
Yeah.
um, that I've really found myself, and I just it sparked a new chord in me, and I was just like every day making songs for me, and I
Totally.
started doing things for me and making moves for me, and I stopped depending on people to like advance in my career.
Yeah.
You
You just
know,
went and got it yourself.
yeah, when I moved here, I was really, really naive, and I assumed that one person could make your career for you.
Absolutely.
And that is true, but the only one person is you.
It's you, and everybody says that you just have to meet that one person when it is coming to somebody else,
Mhm.
and you go look around for this one person, yet you're missing all of the people that build up that one person,
Exactly.
which is the people that are become your good friends,
Mhm.
the people that you can call when you're having a shitty day.
For sure.
Like everybody's like, "Oh, I'm having a terrible day. I'm going to write about it." Most people don't have a terrible day and write about it. They have a
Right.
terrible day. They need somebody to help them digest it and
Mhm.
help them understand it. Then you write about it.
Exactly.
But that community around you and all of that kind of builds up so you can start figuring yourself out as you
For
go.
sure. And that's like definitely one of the most important things. And I'm so lucky that I have like that foundation
Yeah.
of close friends and like, creative friends that I could go to.
What is your family like as far as support? It sounds like you have a pretty supportive family.
They are the most supportive. I'm one of 5 kids.
Wow.
And we all have huge, huge dreams. One of my older sisters lives here in LA. And
Oh,
she's
that's
doing
nice to have.
film and TV and comedy and stuff. And then I have a younger sister who lives in Paris and she's doing photography. And she actually just got a patent. Like, who does that?
Good for her.
She's an inventor. Like, that's so cool.
Congratulations.
Congrats, Izzy. Love you. Um, but my family has always been so supportive of
Mhm.
me and my dreams. And I'm lucky that I'm able to vocalize and verbalize like how I see myself in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a songwriter, so I should be able to like verbalize and vocalize how I feel.
It's part of the job.
It is part of the job. But yeah, while I was living in Toronto, like my dad he was doing business a lot in Toronto, and we would set up meetings together, and we like went to Universal Music Canada, and we were working in really cool studios all the
Mhm.
time, and it's been really fun to have like my parents on that side and
Yeah.
seeing me do what I love and also supporting me and allowing me to take like a less conventional route, you know?
Absolutely.
I'm
They're
not
part of the system. They're part of
exactly.
they're part of your team.
They are part of my team, Team Jakey.
And that's
Um,
that's such a blessing to have. So
for
many people
real.
don't. I do.
Mhm.
My parents, I don't know if I'd say they're part of my team is they're in Detroit,
Mhm.
and don't know anything about this world, but they are such big supporters, and
For
that's something
sure.
that I know I am, and it sounds like you are as well, but very, very blessed and appreciative of.
For sure. It's super important. I feel like whether you have that support from your family or not, it's both a driving force, you know?
Absolutely.
If you don't have that support from your family, it probably makes you wanna, like, push even harder to say, "Look what I can do. Look what I'm
Yeah.
doing."
Everybody's got
Yeah,
their own fuel.
for sure. But I'm super lucky to have them, and I don't know, my mom's always like, "I'm not just saying this because 'cause I'm your mom, but, like, this is the best song ever." I'm like, "Love you, mom, but you are my mom,"
Yeah.
like, but
No,
she
that's the best,
knows.
so you gotta have that.
Yeah.
So, to wrap this up, I wanna know what would you tell somebody who is sitting in Montreal
Mhm.
or in Toronto or anywhere, to be honest, and sitting there, a 15-year-old kid getting ready, they've been writing 200 songs a day by themselves, and they just don't know what to do next.
Um, for me, obviously it's a journey and it took me time to get to where I am now. Um, but you gotta just recognize your greatness. I feel like that has been the key to my success so
Mhm.
far. Um, not in like a I'm better than anyone way, but I feel like when you're an artist, whether it's a visual artist, like any type of field,
Yeah.
um, you're making art for who? For you, you know? So you have to know that what you're doing is good. And if you recognize your greatness,
Mhm.
then you can't be denied, in my opinion.
People will catch on.
People will catch on and you just have to know your worth and never settle for anything.
Don't settle, motherfuckers.
Don't settle, for real.
There's no need.
There
Go
is no need.
art is not about settling, it's about getting out whatever's in your head, and if you're settling, then you're changing it for somebody else's vision, and
Exactly.
that's bullshit.
Exactly.
Thank you, dude. You
Thank
are
you.
killer. I'm so stoked to see how well you've been doing,
Thank you so
and all
much.
these people are very lucky to get you in the room to help write.
Oh, thank you.
We're gonna go, make some music.
Let's
Thank you
do it.
for coming on.
Thanks for having me. You're honestly the best and you're
Appreciate
so
you.
freaking talented.
Thank you, man.
And I love all that you do.
Thank you. And to everybody listening,
I'm Jakey, and this is an experiment.
bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
The experience is the experiment.